I had a show that night in Vegas at a reggae festival. And my son was in Israel. Hadn't heard from him. It was Shabbos. And I was just like, what do I do? And I was like, I freaking hope someone brings an Israeli flag. Someone did. I called him up. I brought the flag out on stage. And I was like, I immediately went back into this version of this zealot, Matisyahu, like the Hasmonean.
Of course.
And when I was on stage, and it was like, all I want to do is fucking like, it was like how I felt when I was at the BDS, and it was like how I felt when I very first started performing, you know? And it was like this feeling of like just
the warrior closet. You open it back up and put the armor back on.
Yeah, really
and went
like
to battle.
no shame.
Yeah.
Like this is fully who I am, who we are, and then I start singing the songs. I'm like, all my songs are relevant.
Did you
it's
change
not
the set
like
list, or they
you
just
know
took on your
I know
meaning?
guys from like party bands like 311 who are now sober. And I always imagine like, well, they have to go back and sing those songs about getting fucked up. I'm like, every Matisyahu song in the entire catalog I could sing today, and it's real. And especially with what's going on, it's like the lyrics are so tied to this sort of like overarching Jewish experience that we're now like really facing. So
Anthem
it feels
for the nation. Every one of your songs, they have so much like resonant ideas of calling almost all of us to be proud. There's such a pride in it.
Yeah.
Even with Fireproof, which was an but even
Which
with that,
is,
I listen to that and I'm like, oh my God, everything that's
like,
personal is universal. Everything that's universal is personal.
Which is like to your point that like if you had just left my ass alone, I'm basically retired in New Jersey, making songs about my personal life, about my wife, my kids, and there's Jewish references and stuff like that, right? But now.
You take Matis out of Crown Heights, but you can't take Crown Heights out of Matis. It's like the foundation is summoned. It's like this crazy
in
thing.
all of us. And that's the miracle of Israel. That's the only way that Israel is in existence, because we all feel that. And like if we feel that here as artists, imagine soldiers in Israel, people growing up in it, like they feel that, and obviously in a huge way. So I mean that. It's kind of
we just triggered the Free
crazy.
Palestine section on this episode. Come at us, baby! But 100%, it's so powerful, right?
Yeah, I've been
it does. It's like the only time Jews, because it's what happens every single time. It's like we get mixed into the world. We do well. Everything's going on. We try to hold on to our beliefs and to our Judaism, but all the world is happening, and it's happening for generations and generations. And then sooner or later, someone is like, nah, fuck you. We're coming after you. And now it's like, oh yeah.
The scapegoat cycle.
Oh yeah, here we go again.
Scapegoat cycle.
Even though we haven't fully experienced it, we know it. Yeah. We're like, here we go. Here we go. It's go time, baby. This is where we come together. This is where
and I think that there's these people out there, like you said, like how to reach people who are confused about this, are now shaken as Jews, but also adjacent to Jews, people removed from the situation who've kind of been co-opted by the perversion of language on the far left, let's say, because of the universities talking about this. They sort of say, well, wait, where's the good, where's the bad here? First of all, if you woke up on October 8th after October 7th and you don't know where the good and the bad is, you're morally broken, your compass is broken. But I will say this, after a few days to settle down, when you're trying to figure yourself out, one of the reasons I put out stuff was like, I try to offer some moral clarity on this, not just for people who are removed from this, not just people who who hate me anyway about this issue, who hate Israel. It's for people who want to sympathize with Israel. Yeah. They just don't know how to articulate it in a way that feels like with conviction. Yeah. And so you have to put those ideas out. And I figure I could point fingers at people not talking about it, or just try to talk about it myself. Yeah. But
yeah, I had that moment too, where I was like, also after the show, I was like, okay, we have a song coming out. We promote the song. We're going to do this, that, and we have to do promo, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, no, we're not doing any of that. Like, all we're doing is talking about Israel right now. And if I have a song coming out, it's about Israel right now. And thank God, like my team is on board with that. They're like, my manager's a South African Jew. But he's not religious, you know what I'm saying? But my other team, they're not Jewish, the other team members, but they all like, they support it. They support me in my decision.
In like the scene that you were
it would have been hard
night.
Though, for example, if I had a manager who was either not Jewish or not, Jewish.
Right. Did you
and would have been like, Matis, this is not good for your career, this, that, and the other thing. That would have been like, I would have felt really alone. You know, I'd have been like, I got to fire my manager. Now I'm really alone. I have to fire my manager.
In the fellow artists that you in like that night of the show when you were talking to people, did you feel sympathy from people? Did you feel understand? What was or was it awkward?
It was like, I think half the people didn't know what happened or were confused about what happened. People that, like, at that point, the day that it happened, if they did hear about it, they were sympathetic. There were certainly like, I didn't.
Doesn't take long for things.
But no,
to change,
that whole scene is like, I mean, there was like the headlining, a big artist that was performing who's Jewish, Persian. I don't want to get too, you know. He's a Jew, and I right away got there, and I was like, who else is Jewish that's at this festival? And I was like, let's right now go play a version of Jerusalem acoustic and send it. And his, you know, I heard back from his, and this is someone I'm friends with, I'm close with, I know a long time. Like, oh, he doesn't speak on Israel. The day of October 7th, on that Saturday.
You see, that is the victory of the narrative, of the collapse of the defense of Israel in the world. Of like, it's just too confusing.
And our
dicey.
scene, definitely in our reggae scene, for sure. There's this confusion of like, reggae music is the music of the oppressed people. The Palestinians are the oppressed people. You know, even if you look at like the way they dress compared to the way we dress, like they look like freedom fighters, right? They have the thing, they have the colors, the black, red, and green. They have the, like, if you're just like a bystander who has nothing to do with it and you're just looking at it, you're just like, oh, like, who's the cooler? They're the bully. We're the bullied, right?
All you gotta do is look at a map to disprove that. Like, but I hear you. Like, they're just looking at the optics.
No, but they're just looking at the optics of it, and they're just like, oh, yeah, the Free Palestine, like Rastafari. You know, that's what I'm thinking most of them are thinking. You know, there's probably a small percentage of them that, like, realize that the whole entire music that they listen to is fucking taken from the Old Testament. Like, we provided it.
Yeah.
You know, the Jews.
It's not only that it's not only not true, it's anti-true. It's the inversion.
It's the opposite.